Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is all about texture. We're making a crochet tank top featuring a gorgeous basket weave detail front and center, complemented by classic ribbing and thick straps. It's a statement piece guaranteed to impress, turning heads and hooks alike. If you're new here, welcome. I share modern crochet patterns and tutorials every Wednesday and Sunday. So tell a friend, tap the bell, and subscribe so you never miss an upload. And if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up or 2 thumbs down if you don't. Either way, it's a great way to support the channel and keep these tutorials free. So without further ado, here's how to make your Basketweave crochet tank. For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a total of 135 grams of yarn. That's 305 yards if you're stateside. As for tools, a 5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order, and enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us if you have a celebrity lookalike. I don't think I have one, and I haven't been told that I look like anyone, so who knows. Details for the giveaway down below. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they'll be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is made for a size small. You can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're all going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Then we're all going to grab our 5mm hook and start off by making a chain that is in multiples of 6, the width that we'd like for the basket weave detail to be. I'd like for mine to be just about 3 inches or 8 centimeters, so I'm going to start by making a chain 12. Now that we have our chain, we're all going to do 1 additional chain. So block off that last chain and chain 1. That 1 additional chain will count as our base chain. Now once we have that, block off that last chain. Then we're all going to do a chain 2. Now that chain 2 is our turning chain. Now that we have that chain 2, we're all going to get started on our half double crochet row. So yarn over, preparing for a half double crochet. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the 3rd chain from our hook, we're going to bring our hook down, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 for our first half double crochet. Let's do one more. Yarn over, into that following chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, and from here continue with 1 half double crochet into every chain. Our row 1 is complete. Now let's get started on our row 2, so chain 2 and flip. Now to do our basket weave, it's going to be worked in 3 post stitches. So we're all going to start with 3 front post double crochets. So starting with a yarn over. We're going to find the second half double crochet from our previous row. We want to make sure that we're not working into that first half double crochet because we want the edges to be nice and blunt. So finding that second half double crochet, we're going to bring our hook underneath the body of that stitch and through the other side. So underneath, through the other side, yarn over and pull through. Now when we have these 3 loops on our hook, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our first front post double crochet. Let's do another. Again, yarn over, finding that following half double crochet from our previous row, we're going to bring our hook down, underneath the body of that stitch and through the other side. Then yarn over, pull through. Then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And it is worked in sets of 3, so we have 1 more left to do. So yarn over. Bring our hook down, underneath the body of that next stitch, through the other side, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have just completed 3 front post double crochets. Now we're all going to do 3 back post double crochets. So yarn over once, again. Finding that following half double crochet from our previous row, we're now going to bring our hook underneath the entirety of our work, up through that next gap, then over the body of that next half double crochet and through the other side. Then yarn over, pull through to get 3 loops on our hook, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our first back post double crochet. Let's do another one. Yarn over and bring our hook down, underneath our work, up through that next gap. Then we're going to bring our hook over that next half double and through the other side. Then yarn over, pull through to get a total of 3 loops on our hook, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our second back post. They're still worked in sets of 3, so one more back post together, so yarn over. Bring your hook down underneath our work, up through that next gap, over that next body, and through the other side. Yarn over and pull through, giving us 3 loops on our hook, then double crochet per usual, so yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we shall have a total of 6 stitches for our row 2, which is 3 front post, 3 back post double crochets. We're going to continue to repeat 3 front posts, 3 back posts until we reach the end of the row, so let's just do the next 6 stitches together as well. So yarn over. Finding that next available half double crochet, we're now going to do a front post double crochet. So bring your hook down underneath the body of that stitch through the other side. From here, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our first front post. Let's do a second. Yarn over, underneath the body of that following post, through the other side, pull through 2, pull through 2, and once more, yarn over. Underneath the body of that following stitch, through the other side, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our 3 front posts. We're now going to do 3 back posts. So yarn over. To do our back post, we're going to bring our hook down underneath the work, up through that next gap, over the body of that following stitch, and through the other side. Then yarn over, pull through to get 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. To do our second, we're all going to yarn over, underneath our work, up through that next gap, through the other side, pull through 2, pull through 2, and once more, yarn over. We're going to bring our hook underneath our work, up through that next gap, over the body of that following half double crochet, through the other side, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our third back post double crochet. Now from here, we're going to continue to repeat 3 front posts, 3 back posts, making our way all the way down until we reach the end of the row. Now, our last set of stitches should be 3 back post double crochets for everyone. And now just to make sure that we're closing off the row with the same amount of stitches as our previous row, we're going to insert 1 half double crochet into the top of that chain 2 from our previous row. So yarn over, into the top of that chain 2, we're going to insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 with 1 half double crochet. And now my row 2 is complete. Now to get started on our row 3, chain 2 and flip. Now getting started on our row 3. Every odd number row for our basket weave detail is just going to extend our previous row stitches. So since we're working on our row 3, we're going to take a look at the last set of stitches from our previous row and do what that looks like. So after we flipped our work, my first set of stitches look like 3 front post double crochets. So I will now be doing 3 front post double crochets. So we're going to yarn over once. Inserting into that post stitch, making sure we're not working into that half double crochet from the end of our previous row, because remember we want a blunt end. We're going to insert our hook underneath that first post stitch with 1 front post double crochet, underneath that following with another front post double crochet, and underneath that next with another front post double crochet. Then my next set of stitches look like 3 back posts. So I'll be doing 3 back posts. So yarn over, bring our hook down underneath our work, over that next stitch and through the other side with 1 back post double crochet, in with a second back post double crochet, then with a third back post double crochet. Now from here, we're just going to continue to extend our previous row stitches until we reach the end of the row. We have made our way down with our row 3. Now from here, we're going to make sure to close off the row with 1 half double crochet like how we did our previous row. So yarn over, into the top of the chain 2 from our previous row, we're going to insert with 1 half double crochet, and now we should have the same amount of stitches as our previous row. Now let's all get started on row 4, so chain 2 and flip. Now when it comes to doing every even number row, we're now going to do the opposite from what our previous row stitches look like. So since our first set of stitches look like 3 front posts, for our even number row, we're now going to do 3 back posts. So yarn over, bring our hook down, underneath the body of that first post stitch, remembering we're never working into that edge stitch, with 1 back post double crochet. Still worked in sets of 3, so underneath that following with another back post. Then underneath that last with another back post double crochet. Now that our 3 back posts are completed, we're now going to do 3 front posts. So yarn over, underneath, through the other side with our first front post, with our second front post, and with our third front post double crochet. Now we should all have 6 stitches completed for our row 4. From here, we're just going to continue to do the opposite from what our previous row stitches look like until we reach the end of the row. We've just completed our first 4 rows. We do want to make sure that we close off the row with 1 half double crochet into the top of that chain 2 like we've been doing. Now to get started on our row 5, chain 2 and flip. Now since this is an odd number row, we're going to extend our previous row stitches. So since after we flipped, it looks like 3 back posts, we're going to start with 3 back posts. So yarn over, underneath the body of that first post stitch from our previous row, I'm going to insert with 1 back post double crochet. Into that next with our second back post double, then into that next with a third back post double. Then my next set of stitches look like 3 front post double crochets, so I will now be doing 3 front posts. So there's my first, into that following stitch with my second front post, and then into that following with my third front post because they're still worked in sets of 3. From here, continue to extend our previous row stitches and to reach the end of the row, making sure to close off the row with 1 half double crochet into the top of that chain 2. We are back and we have just completed our first 5 rows. Now from here, we are going to repeat rows 2 through 5. All of these links will be linked in the description, by the way, until we have the height of the basket weave detail that we want. So placing the first row at our waist, and our last row is going to end roughly 1 inch underneath our underarm, right after an odd number row. Once we have that height, I will meet everyone back so we can get started on the side panels. We have just completed the height of our cable stitch detail. I now have a total of 23 rows. This height is just about 8 inches or 20 centimeters. Now from here, we're going to get started on our side panel. So from where we're at, we're all going to chain 1 and flip our work. Now we're all going to work into the edge of our basket weave detail. We're all going to be doing a single crochet row, alternating between 1 to 2 single crochets into every side row, starting with 1. So this is my first side row right here. I'm going to find that top loop and insert, starting with just 1 single crochet. This is my following side row. I'm going to find that top loop, then insert with 2 single crochets. Now let's do that again. This is my following side row. Find that top loop and insert with 1. Finding our following side row, we're going to find that top loop and insert with 2, and we're just going to continue doing this until we reach the end of the row. Our single crochet row along the edge of our basket weave detail is complete. Now we're going to do a back loop slip stitch row. So from where we're at, we're all going to chain 1 and flip. Now to do our first one, finding that first stitch from our previous row, we're all going to insert our hook into that back loop or the loop that's furthest away from us, yarn over, and just pull through everything on our hook. Again, next stitch is back loop, insert, and gently pull through everything, and that's pretty much it. We're going to want to make sure that we're not tugging through too tightly after every stitch, otherwise the following row could be too tight to work into, but continue with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. Our back loop slip stitch row is completed. Now we're going to do our following row, which is a back loop half double crochet row, so chain 2 and flip. Now we're going to do a row of back loop half doubles, so yarn over, into that first stitch's back loop, we're going to pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, next stitch's back loop, pull through all 3, and that's it. Continue with 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. Our back loop half double crochet row is completed. Now from here, all we're going to do, it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to do back loop slip stitch and back loop half double crochet rows until we have a portion that can reach around our side all the way to center back. Now just some really quick tips before I let you guys go. It is going to be a repeat of these 2 previous rows, so no increases, no decreases. It's super duper simple. Once when we are stretching this up to ourselves, we are going to want to make sure that the basket weave detail is still staying at mid-chest, and we are stretching it as if we were wearing it because it will have a decent amount of stretch to it. But for those of you that need some more width around the bust, we are going to have some extra rows just to add more width for the bust once when we get there. Now the last row for this side panel should end right after a half double crochet row, and if it's possible, do not do a chain up one and cut. Go ahead and just save your spot by inserting a stitch marker into that last stitch. Then we can just get started on the other side together, because once we have the entirety of this portion completed, we can work straight into the bust width and the seam together from there without having to add an extra tail ends. Once when this is completed, I'll meet everyone back right after a half double crochet row. I have just completed my side panel. Now I have a total of 43 rows that is starting from our first single crochet row. This width is just about 9.5 inches or 24 centimeters, or my total width is 12.5 inches or 32 centimeters, and that measurement is unstretched. Now we're going to repeat everything we did here on the other side, but since the ribbing that we have isn't reversible, we do want to make sure that we're inserting our hook into the corner stitch of our basket weave detail where our original base chain was. We're going to insert our hook in through there, and then we're going to do our single crochet row, and just to double check and make sure that the front of our ribbing is showing, we should be showing the front of our single crochet row as we're working our way up the side of our basket weave detail. Then we're just going to continue on with our back loop slip, back loop half double crochet rows, no increases, no decreases, for the same amount of total rows that we have on this side. Once we have the other panel completed, I will meet everyone back. We have just completed the entirety of our panel. Now the total width that I have is just about 22 inches or 56 centimeters. That is unstretched. Now from here we're going to seam up our back. So let's start by folding our work in half, making sure that all of our work is flipped right side out. So doing our back seam, we're going to do an outside loop slip stitch seam all the way up until the back portion gets a little bit too tight, and then we're going to add more width for the bust. So just to show you guys how we're going to do this, is we're going to put this piece on, making sure that the base chain of our basket weave detail is along the bottom. Then from here, just pinching the two sides together, we're going to pinch all the way up just until it gets a little bit too tight to pinch. Then from that point to the top, we're going to add just a little bit more width. So with my pinching that I did, I inserted my stitch marker into the 8th stitch from the bottom. That's roughly 2 inches or 5 centimeters. Now we're going to do our seam until we reach our stitch marker. So making sure that our work is flipped right side out, we're going to insert our hook into the corner stitch of both the front and the back panel. Then we're going to pull through and do a chain up of 1 just to secure. Then to do our outside loop slip stitch seam, we're going to insert our hook into that first available stitch into the front panel, inserting only into that front loop, into that next available stitch into the back panel, inserting only into that back loop, then yarn over and pull through everything on our hook. That is our first outside loop slip stitch seam. To do that again, we're going to insert our hook into that next stitch into the front panel, only into that front loop, next stitch into the back panel, only into that back loop, then yarn over and pull through everything, and we're just going to continue doing this until we reach our stitch marker stitch. Once we do a chain up of 1 and cut, then I'll meet you back so we can get started on the bust width. So we have just completed our seam for the back. Now we're going to do our bust width portion. So what we're all going to do from here is making sure that our work is still flipped right side out, right side up. We're going to insert our hook into the top left corner stitch of our detail. So that's where our stitch marker should have been if we didn't do a chain up of 1 and cut. If you did do a chain up of 1 and cut, that's fine. Just insert your hook into the top left. Then from here, we're going to chain 1, flip our work. Start with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, leaving 2 stitches right before our seam. Then I'll meet you back. So we have just slip stitched our way all the way down, leaving 2 stitches right before our seam. Now we're going to do a decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches. So into that second to last back loop, we're going to insert, pull through, also into that last back loop. Once we have all 3 of these loops on our hook, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. Now from here, we're going to single crochet into the top of that back seam just so that we don't miss out on our middle stitch. So just find a top loop, making sure that it is a secure one. You're going to insert with just 1 single crochet, and don't forget to insert your stitch marker into the top of that single crochet. That is our middle stitch. Then working our way up the other side, we're going to start with a decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches, then continue with 1 back loop slip into the rest of our stitches. Our first back loop slip stitch row is completed. Our following row is going to be another back loop half double crochet row, so chain 2, flip our work, 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, now leaving 3 stitches right before our middle stitch. We've just made our way down with our back loop half double crochets, leaving 1, 2, 3 stitches right before our middle stitch. Now from here, we're all going to do a decrease of 3 half double crochets, so yarn over, Into that third to last, we're going to insert into that back loop, pull through, second to last, pull through, and last, we're going to insert, pull through to get a total of 5 loops on our hook, then yarn over and pull through all 5 of those loops. Now into that middle stitch, we're just going to put 1 back loop half double crochet, and we do want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into the top of that stitch because that is our middle stitch. Then from here, working our way up the other side, starting it with a decrease of 3 back loop half double crochets. Again, we're going to insert, pull through until we have a total of 5 loops on our hook, then yarn over, pull through all 5, then complete the row with 1 back loop half into every stitch. Our first 2 fill-in rows are completed for the width of our bust. Now from here, we're just going to continue to repeat these 2 previous rows until we get the total bust width that we need. Now, just as a really quick tip, when it comes to doing our back loop slip stitch row, we are going to be putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, including the decreases on both sides of our middle stitch, but that middle stitch will now just be a back loop slip stitch so that they all match. I'll meet everyone back right after a half double crochet row, then we can seam it all together. We have just completed with the bust width portion. So from my first slip stitch row that I did with you, I had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Then I went ahead and did my back loop slip stitch seam. Now that seam, remember, is going to be done exactly the same way as our back seam. I went ahead and already did that since we already know how to do it. Then I did a chain up 1 and cut. Now we can get started on the bottom band. So we're going to start by inserting our hook into any one of the side rows that we have along the bottom of our piece. I just inserted my hook into the bottom of my seam. Then we're going to do a single crochet row, putting 2 single crochet in every side half double crochet, 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch row, making our way all the way around. So I'm going to pull my working yarn through and do a chain up of 1 just to secure. Now finding my first side row, which is the side half double crochet row, I'm going to find that top loop and insert, starting with 2 single crochet. There's 1 into that same top loop with a second. Now into that following top loop, which should be a side slip stitch row for everyone, I'm going to find that top loop and insert with just 1 single crochet. This is my following row, which is a side half. Find that top loop and insert with 2 singles. So there's 1, there's 2, then 1 single into the top of that side slip stitch row, and we're just going to continue on with this, making our way all the way around. And just as a really quick tip, once we reach the bottom of our basket weave detail, just 1 single crochet is going to be worked into each of those stitches. We're just going to continue on with this, making our way all the way around. When we don't have any more stitches left to work into, slip stitch into that chain space. Now really quickly, this single crochet row is going to be as wide as this portion can stretch, so once when it's completed, try our piece on. If it's a little too tight, we do some stitches with a looser grip, or if it's too loose, we do some stitches with a tighter grip. So our single crochet row along the bottom is completed. We did slip stitch into that chain space. Now from here, we're all going to make a chain the length that we like for the bottom band to be. I'd like for mine to be just about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So I'm going to start by making a chain 12. Then we're going to slip stitch all the way back down. So now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain and do a chain 1. That chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, that's our turning chain. Then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're all going to insert with a slip stitch. And that's it. From here, since we already know how to do our slip stitches, just continue with 1 slip stitch into every chain, and I'll meet you back at the end of the row. So now that we've made our way all the way down with our first slip stitch row, we're going to connect it into the base. So how we're going to do that is start by finding that first available stitch into the base, and this is mine right here. I'm going to find that stitch and insert with a slip stitch. Now that slip stitch into the base doesn't actually count as a stitch, that's just to connect. Then to work our way up to the following row, slip stitch up that following stitch into the base, still doesn't count as a stitch, flip our work, and now from here, 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So finding that first available stitch from our previous row, not worked into any of those slip stitches into the base, we're going to insert into that back loop, yarn over, and gently pull through everything on our hook. From here, continue with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. At the end of the row, we're all going to chain 1, flip our work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch again. Then I'll meet everyone back so we can connect our row 3 into the base together once more. Our first 3 rows are now completed. Now we're going to connect it into the base. So into that next available stitch into the base, insert with a slip stitch, same as our previous row. Then just to work our way up to the following row, slip stitch up that following stitch into the base, flip our work, and repeat. From here, we're going to continue to repeat these 2 previous rows with no increases, no decreases. Then I'll meet everyone back once we don't have any more stitches left to work into, so then we can seam everything together. So we've made our way all the way around with our back loop slip stitch bottom band. Now from here, we're going to seam it together, and we're just going to do the same seam that we did for the back and for the bust with another outside loop slip stitch seam. So as you guys can see, I've already gotten mine completed. So just to talk you through it, making sure that our work is flipped right side out, right side up, we're going to do our same exact outside loop slip stitch seam. Then from here, we can get started on the top, which is basically just a single crochet row and the straps. So making sure that our work is still flipped right side out, right side up, we're going to insert our hook into the bust width seam that we did, and then we're going to do the same single crochet row that we did for the bottom. So just to talk you guys through it, we're going to be putting 2 single crochets into every side half, 1 single crochet into every side slip, then we're going to continue that, making our way all the way around until we're worked into our last side slip stitch row that's right next to our basket weave detail. Then I'll meet you back. So we've just single crocheted our way all the way across, and we worked into our last side slip stitch row right before our basket weave detail. We just want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into the top of that stitch, just so we know where the edge of our basket weave detail is. Now all we're going to do from here is continue on with 1 single crochet into every stitch. Then once we're about to work into our first side slip stitch row on this side, we want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into the top of that stitch to match this one as well. Then just continue making your way all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of this row right after we slip stitch into that chain space and do a chain up of 1 and cut. So our single crochet row along the top of our piece is completed. We're now going to insert our stitch markers into the stitches where we'd like for the strap to lay. So counting from my front panel stitch marker stitch, that's really just to help us count how many stitches we're inserting our stitch markers into, I've inserted my stitch marker into the 11th and 17th stitch away from my middle stitch marker stitch. Once we have that into place, I can take that one out because this side has already been determined where that's going to be. Now I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches from stitch marker to stitch marker. That's just about an inch. That is the width that I'd like for my strap to be. And now from here, we're going to do half double crochet and slip stitch rows back and forth. So making sure that our work is flipped right side out, right side up, and we're inserting our hook into the right stitch marker stitch because we need to show the front of our half double crochet rows. We're all going to chain 2. And making sure we're showing the front of our half double crochet row, we're going to be putting 1 half double crochet into every stitch until we're worked into our following stitch marker stitch. So that first half double crochet is going to be worked into that same stitch that our chain 2 is coming out of, and continue with 1 half double crochet into every stitch. So my half double crochet row is completed. Now our following row is going to be a back loop slip stitch row, so chain 1, flip our work and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. Now our back loop slip stitch row is completed. From here, we're going to continue on with back loop half, back loop slip stitch rows until we have a strap that can reach up and over our shoulder and can reach our back panel. Then I'll meet everyone back so we can seam it to the back together. I have just completed the strap length. Now I have a total of 33 rows. This length is just about 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters. Now from here, we're going to insert our stitch markers into the back just so we know exactly where we're going to connect it, and then we'll seam it together. So making sure that my work is flipped right side out, right side up, I'm going to be inserting my stitch markers into the 12th and into the 18th stitch away from my tail end within the back seam. Now that we have that in place, we're going to flip our work wrong side out so that we can do a single crochet seam to connect everything together. So now that our work is flipped wrong side out, we're going to be inserting our hook into that first available stitch, into the strap, and into our stitch marker stitch within the back. Then from stitch marker to stitch marker, single crochet both panels together. So we're all going to yarn over, pull through everything on our hook, and do a chain up of 1 to secure. Then finding that first stitch into the strap, insert, first stitch into the back panel, insert with a single crochet, again, next stitch into the strap, next stitch into the back panel, and single crochet. We're going to continue doing this, making our way all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left to work into. When we don't, do a chain up of 1 and cut, then repeat on the other side. We have just completed both of our straps, and now we are all done. Last we're going to have to do is simply weave in all of our ends. And there you have it, y'all. Hope you enjoy the tutorial. Join us on Instagram, Pinterest, or Twitter. Those links are down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Catch you on the next one. Bye.